Warning, this video game is M-rated and has several adult themes in it. In this video I may crack adult jokes and use adult language. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. Well, it's Valentine's Day, so let's take a look at the day that's all about friendship, finding romantic connections, and getting women so horny they blow up and knock out all the other women around them. It's time to take a look at Gal Gun Double Piece by Inti Creates. If you're wondering what got me curious about the game, it's hearing the uproar it kind of caused in Japan when it hit the American Xbox 360 and some of Microsoft's changes to that game, showing they really didn't understand the culture that they were selling to. Then later when I was playing Mighty Gunvolt, I see the character of Ikaro. Knowing the first two characters in that game, Gunvolt and Beck, but not her, I did some research and found the series again. So when I saw it on sale on Steam, you bet my curiosity led me to make a purchase. So how is Gal Gun? Well, let's find out. Like most fan service or ichi or ecchi or however you're supposed to pronounce that word material, it's lighthearted and goofy. Basically, you're a young kid named Hodai whose nickname could be Cellophane because you're unpopular and largely ignored. Fortunately, a cupid named Ikaro has been assigned to you today to see if she can set up a date. However, a demon got involved and she's still in training, and said angel shot Hode with a shot that's 32 times more potent than it needs to be. Now every single female in the school who sees them wants to get with them. Unfortunately for our young man, he can't just go out and buy a giant box of condom and get prepared for the best day of his life because as Ikaro puts it, he basically has used up all his possibilities of ever finding romance or friendship in one day. If he can't find his love by sunset, the only friend he will ever have to help ease his loneliness will be named Miss Lefty. Fortunately, two childhood friends have returned to town, and they're immune to Ikaro's love arrow because they both happen to be demon hunters. Because why not? Anyways, at this point, you're left with some options on how to proceed, which girl you want to try to get with, and whatnot. Each path leads you into different stages, and each stage you will have a conversation with her, and depending on the stats you have, you will earn by either buying things in the shop, or when you decide to go into something called Doki Doki mode, will let you choose several options. Some increase your connections, some lower your connections, throw in a few odd mini games that are obviously meant to be fan service. But yay! Points on the fusion dance from DBZ. Anyways, your ending will depend on how high your love gauge with whatever woman you chose. If it's 100%, you get the best ending. If it's kinda high but not, you still get the girl, sort of. And if it's really low, you still can get some humor in some of the bad endings. Have fun making out with that doll, Houday. While I do enjoy giving these types of games crap for good reasons, they're usually creepy and perverted and have no real fun value, here Gal Gun knows what it is and has some fun with it, not only poking fun of ichi or even hentai tropes, because yeah, there's a few bosses with tentacles of course, but other anime as well, with jokes aimed at the likes of Dragon Ball Z and even Yu-Gi-Oh! Overall, the story serves its purpose and it's some decent fun. So what's the gameplay like? It's a fun on-rail shooters, but it's not perfect. Now let me get this clear, I don't think I would recommend this game for $40. $20 maybe, 10 to 15 sure, but I would definitely think less if you can get it as well. But it certainly isn't worth 40 because as an on-rail shooter on a system that has no motion controls or light guns on it, makes it a pretty basic game and extremely easy. Once I figured out how to power up my characters after each round, I never got a game over, even on expert. So let's get to the basics. You get to pick your route and stage through the game. To get through them again, you're on rails, meaning movement is handled for you on a track like all on-rail shooters. And you basically just have to concentrate on shooting your adversaries to get them out of the way. But rather than having them being criminals, aliens, or flesh-eating zombies, they're young girls who are shouting I love you and hitting you with love notes. As for Hode, his motive isn't to kill them, but rather use Ikaro's pheromone shot to fill them with euphoria until they fall over for a few minutes so he can get away without getting smooched to death. And each girl has their own weak spot that will help them go down faster if Hode shoots them there. Also making it a little harder is some girls have been stabbed by a demon spear and are now out to beat Hode up, and if you have to find where the little demon dolls are on them and shoot them first before you can actually knock them out with a pheromone shot. Overall, though, it's not hard, nor does the game give you anything really to stress out about. The women usually stop before attacking, so Hode usually has plenty of time to pump them full of pheromones and have them pass out. Of course, the pheromone shot isn't the only one of Hode's weapons, as the Doki Doki bomb. By shooting girls, he fills up a meter and he can take a group into what is called Doki Doki mode. There, touching their sweet spots will eventually cause the girls to get euphoria as they start calling out their craving for double pea soup. And then, of course, a bomb will go off that knocks out all other girls in the area. And yeah, I do have a craving for pea soup whenever I get so horny that I'm about to pass out. That makes perfect sense, as well as the fact that getting to first base hurts you, but going all the way to second base causes everybody around you to pass out. The Doki Doki bomb also changes your stats depending on the girl you use Doki Doki on. Take a gamer or a bookworm into Doki Doki mode, expect your intelligence to increase, but your athleticism may take a hit. Take an athlete in, and that will increase your athleticism, so use it wisely. Again, you can unlock books that give the girl's profile so you can figure out who they are and what way they can change your stats. So why does Doki Doki mode even matter, and are those stats even important? Well, these are where the game has its challenge from. Your main challenge isn't getting through the game as far as not being killed by the girls because it's rather easy, but rather making sure the girl you chose your path on will fall for you, and for that you have to pick the right options on your stats to determine what options can be picked or not. And yes, believe me when I say the dating aspect is the hardest part in the game, choosing these right answers so you can get a good ending, because it certainly doesn't come from the basic games, nor does it come from the boss fights. Speaking of which, there are 6 bosses total in the game. Each path has at least 2 bosses, and not only are they easy, but none of them are what I would call frantic or hectic in any way, shape, or form. They also repeat, unfortunately. The boss fights against the sisters at the end of each route are exactly the same. The boss fight you can have between either Ikoro or the demon is exactly the same. The 2 giant monsters you can run to are different, but yet still very similar. To say the bosses are cakewalk and forgettable is the understatement of the year. Fortunately, they're not the only challenge this game has to offer. There are other mini games that can happen, especially in any route involving the 2 sisters, which are your main routes, by the way. These mini games will involve you shooting stars or demons that pop up around them and then rubbing onto them to increase your infection gauge with them. These games are fun, but a few of them are broken on the PC and impossible to get right for the bonus points and infection. And again, these mini games do contain fan service. Oh, and another problem I have with the Steam version of this game is the amount that it can crash. It's not very stable, and I have done rants about it. There are times unless you hit the Windows key and temporarily exit out of an area for a split second while the game loads, it's going to end up crashing on you for some reason. It's not a 100% don't buy because of it, but it does make me very hesitant to recommend this game on Steam, at least until it's patched, and I don't know at the time of this recording if they're ever going to make a patch for it. So I say pick up the PS4 version instead if you have a PlayStation 4, and I hope the publisher P-Cube will end up patching this game eventually, because it does need patch. It's a fun game and worthwhile pickup if it was more stable. Graphically, the game was made for the Vita, and it definitely shows. It looks basically like a PlayStation 3 games, but that's fine as the graphics do fit its charm perfectly. There are several different girls chasing after you, and they all look unique and are animated. And heck, even a few teachers get on the mix. That said, true to anime fan service, the teachers are all young and good looking to the point where they're not even really robbing the cradle or anything going after you. That's not what I remember my teachers looking like growing up. give Mama Old Fart some sugar, hot thing. Yeah, it would be more like would happen if one of my teachers that I had in high school came after you. Still, the game is bright and colorful, and the characters are well detailed and pretty well crafted. The environments, though, are often repeated and a little stale looking. I'll give the game some credit. The school does look like it's one huge environment, which you're just exploring sections of, but when I have to repeat a section going through some of these quests, they do start to get old looking. The game's audio is entirely in Japanese. The music is upbeat and fun and fits the charm of the game. Overall, I'd say the sound is pretty good. While Galgun is a pretty short on-rail shooter that is way too easy, there is a lot of charm, and I just like the idea of replacing criminals, murders, and aliens with cute anime girls has some charm to it, and it's kind of fun to play through on short bursts, and the game is made for that with only 2 hours really to get through each path, and about 4 or 5 paths. It'll take you probably between 12 to 15 hours if you want to see the true ending on each pass. Although sometimes it is worth it to play through the game as a hentai fiend, which pretty much means getting the really bad ending is about the only one you can get unless you're really good at increasing your stats just to see the bad ending, because some of them are even funny too. So there's a lot of charm. Unfortunately, because the game is unstable on Steam, at least as the moment of this recording, and I'm recording this in the fall right after picking it up and playing it, so yeah, this one's a scheduled YouTube release, but as far as this recording goes, the game has not been patched, and it's still somewhat unstable on Steam, so I really can't recommend the Steam version that I have been playing. That said, there is a PS4 version. I haven't heard any of the complaints about the crashing on the PS4, so it might be worth picking up there. Just make sure you get it at a decent price. I would not pay any more than $20 for this. It's too simple, if you ask me, and a bit too short. Unless you really like replaying the stages, I do, but that's not for everybody either. Anyways, this is Tommy the Game Master, thanking you for watching. I'll see you guys later.